Hello everybody and welcome to the latest Epic Universe construction update. If you're unaware, Epic Universe is a brand new theme park coming to Universal Studios Florida and is currently set to open in 2025. As has become Universal Studios' MO, the speed at which they are doing construction projects is notoriously quick anyways, and Epic Universe is proving to stay consistent with that theme. They will construct a brand new theme park with multiple lands and multiple attractions long before certain other competitors can't even finish a single ride.
Who said that?
Epic Universe is located just 2 miles south of Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. This new park will include brand new lands themed to How to Train Your Dragon, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Universal Monsters, and my personal favorite Super Nintendo World. So let's jump right into today's update and head to the Isle of Berk and check out the progress on How to Train Your Dragon land. As we come into this land, we take an aerial shot here to get a lay of how things are beginning to take shape. At 1 is the portal entrance to the land. At 2 is the pair of spinning dragon rides. At 3, we have the main attraction roller coaster station. 4 is the land's main dining hall called the Great Hall. 5 is the land's boat ride, and 6 is the theater, which is believed to be like the show they have in Universal Studios Beijing called Untrainable. Alright, our first stop in this land is this land's main attraction, the family-friendly coaster that is best described as a more tame and family-friendly version of Hagrid's motorbike adventure that you can find in Islands of Adventure in Universal Studios. And in this picture, we can see at 1, current work on the roof and chimney theming, as that is definitely coming along. And over at 4, we are seeing some misaligned wood pieces to show the theming and character of this land, as everything is to look handmade and be authentic to a Viking village theme. Zooming out a little bit, we can also see at 1, recently placed sand, which is likely for landscaping. At 2, additional scaffolding has been added as work above the coaster's first launch continues. Over at 3, there's framing for a wall to hide the back of the house from guests. And at 4, we have more theming on the other side of the roof. And in this theme, we can see many trees that are beginning to show up in this land. Plus, we can see at 2, the service building for the coaster, and 3 is the other side of the framing of the wall that is going to hide the back of the house from guests. And another view here of the coaster track twisting on its way to the front of the How to Train Your Dragon land. A water feature will be at the bottom center, and rock work in progress on the water side of a small building we can see here. And in these photos, we can see rock work in progress at the second launch on the How to Train Your Dragon coaster. The rock work you see on the left is part of the kids' play area that will be in this land as well. And over at the spinning dragon ride, which we have checked out the last few times, we can see some concrete being poured for the landing pad of the red dragon, and likely we will see some concrete being poured for the blue dragon landing pad by the next time we take a look in this area. Not much else has been done on this ride other than the concrete, but you can get an idea of how this ride will fit in between the tracks of the roller coaster. And it is believed that a themed grandstand will be at the foundations at the left here, after the second launch at the bottom left. In this shot of the How to Train Your Dragon land portal, we can see where at 1 seems like dragons will be on top of these rocks, and we can also see a service door and mounts where we believe the dragons will be placed. And at 2, we saw in the last update that the walkways had concrete being poured, and it seems like now the walkways are being covered with wood, so presumably part of the walkways in this land will be covered in wood to showcase a Viking village feel. Now, just like the movies, the adventure in this land will begin with a view of the 2 tall statues that will be submerged in water with Viking ships around them. You can get an idea of the kinetic energy that this land will have as soon as you walk in, as you will have the coaster diving under a walkway bridge and a boat ride nearby as well. And we can also see this image where the waterline markings are, so most of what we see here will be visible, but it is supposed to give the illusion of it being in much deeper water. And here we can see at 1, a large diameter wood pole actively being placed at a structure, and at 2, we have waterproofing being added to a recently built wood building, and at 3, we have the current work at the load and unload platform of the boat ride in this land. And the arrow here shows where boats will travel over a ramp to the unload and load platform that is on this boat ride. In this view, we can see at 1, rock work at a quick service restaurant, and at 2, waterproofing of a recently built wood building, and 3 is active construction of a log structure, and at 4, we have current work at the unload and load station of the boat ride, We can also see rock work being done on the Great Hall restaurant at the bottom right. And here we have a good look at the entrance to the theater over at 1, which now it looks like the roof is completely finished. So that was something that's been finished up in the past couple of weeks. And looking at 2 and 3, we can see the route that guests will take if they go from the theater to the roller coaster. And here are some great shots and angles showing the progress on the Great Hall restaurant and the rock work that is well underway. And again, this restaurant will have an earthy tone. It's going to look like a Viking village dining hall. And it's a place that I think is going to look really cool when completed and probably will be a table service type restaurant. All right, from the Isle of Berk, we head over to probably the most anticipated land of all and my personal favorite, Super Nintendo World. Now, right outside of the portal to the land, we can see progress being made on the shop and cafe that will be outside the land. Now, again, this is presumed to be outside the land in case the land is closed for capacity or it is being rented out for an event where people can still get themed food and merchandise if they would like. And here's one of the best looks we've had at the portal entrance to the land. And as we talked about before, when you enter this land, you'll be taken up an escalator and into Peach's castle. There's definitely a lot more work happening here and coming along very nicely. And in this shot into Mushroom Kingdom, we can see at the center are foam blocks being distributed for sculptured theming in the land. And it's also possible that additional foam is being staged at the top left. We can also see progress that's been made on the facade for the Mario Kart ride attraction here. And to get a good idea of the scale of this ride, here is the facade in the foreground here. And on the back side, you can see the ride building that is massive. And here over at Mount Beanpole, we can see some artists that are beginning to do some exterior theming on parts of it. And zooming out a little bit, we can see the facade on Mount Beanpole is coming along rather nicely as we are able to see some rock detail emerging through the scaffolding. And we can see here over at Yoshi's Adventure in the arrows where the track has been covered while work above it continues, so it protects the track, which has been completed for some time. And in this reverse angle, we can see it at 1, Peach's Castle, and at 2, we have Toad's Cafe, and 3 is the Mario Kart attraction. And here's a check-in on the progress being made on Peach's Castle. All the flooring that we looked at previously on the upper levels looks to be completed, and the underneath part we were able to get a little glimpse of last time looks like it is definitely going to be used for something rather significant. We'll have to wait and see if this is a meet and greet area, a play area, or something else entirely. Now heading over to the Donkey Kong coaster, we can see at 1, recently added frame for a themed kiosk, and at 2 is a recently added frame for ride theming. And here in this shot, we can see a great look at the side track and the false track that is above it. And we can see that the arrow in this photo is a covered Donkey Kong roller coaster mine car with a reach tester that is attached. Now this test represents the maximum reach of a guest. It's fairly common, and you'll see on most of the rides in this land that they will run these tests to make sure when people are on these rides, when they have their hands up, that they're not able to hit anything and keep guests safe. This part of the ride is where the riders will dash through some water, and we can see at 1 where the sideways track below allows the car to go across the water, and at 2 is the frame for the theming, and 3 is a recently added frame for a kiosk, and at 5 are some of the breaks in the mock track that is going to simulate like you're jumping gaps in the track. And here is another great look at the broken mock railroad track of the Donkey Kong Mine Car roller coaster. The actual track is sideways underneath, like we've talked about before, and much more theming is to be done in this area, which is going to be adding to the illusion that the car is leaping over gaps, just like you did in the Donkey Kong Country video game. All right, heading over to the Dark Universe to check on the progress in this land. Now, we will find a lot more scaffolding as much more of this land is currently having facade work being done on it. Coming up on the portal to Dark Universe, we can see at 1 and 2 tree roots getting painted in the sculpture, and 3 seems to be like a prototype sample. Now, the portal to this land hasn't had any progress made on it in a little bit, but it is believed that this will eventually be a broken wall in which guests will walk through to enter into Dark Universe. And this is another great photo of the Curse of the Werewolf. Now, this is believed to be a spinning coaster, much like the Cosmic Rewind roller coaster over in Epcot at Disney World. And the barn is over a shuttle launch that will send riders backwards before propelling them forward in the circuit route to the station. But this is believed to be a family-friendly roller coaster. We had previously wondered if the white things on the track of the Curse of the Werewolf coaster were test vehicles, but it seems rather clear in this image that these are actually things to protect the track while there is overhead work being done above it. And here we can see a staging area that has more of these tubes or protective white coverings that are protect roller coaster tracks, assuming other than just Curse of the Werewolf, but these seem to be just when they're doing overhead work to make sure that the track isn't damaged if something were to fall or happen. And here's a good look at the forest landscaping so far between the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster and nearby buildings. Now this is interesting because Universal stated last week that they will, quote, bring the park back into theme parks in Epic Universe. So we can assume there will be lots of trees and landscaping all throughout the park, which I would love to see because concrete jungles are terrible for the bright sun and heat of Central Florida.
It's too hot!
Now across from the Curse of the Werewolf, we can see the manor in Dark Universe. Now it's completely covered in scaffolding, so it is hard to see how much progress has been made, but if it's like anything else in this park, there's probably been a decent amount of progress being made. And here we see a small building right next to the manor. We are currently unsure what this building is for, but we can get a good idea of the theming of the village that will be a part of this land. Now looking at the manor, the arrow shows some of the areas where Gothic stone can be seen through the scaffolding just a little bit, and the manor will be a Kuka arm attraction, very similar to what you see in this video, and very similar to what you can find over in the Forbidden Journey ride in Islands of Adventure. And over at the Burning Blade Tavern, there is more recently added scaffolding around the windmill frame. Now this was confirmed to be the actual name of this lounge / quick service location through trademark filings that Universal had made a few weeks ago. All right, it's time to check in on the progress in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Land of Epic Universe. Now looking at the entrance portal, we are still waiting on what is presumed to be a giant hand holding a wand to be placed on top of the pillar right here. Most of the buildings in this land here are covered in scaffolding, but we can see the different kinds of Haussmann-style roofs, I believe that's how you say that will look like the streets of Paris. We can see in the land here at the center is a restaurant that will be reached only through a courtyard of a Paris-style building. Now there are 3 street-level accesses of this courtyard, and in this angle we can see the theming to the streets of Paris and the 2 attractions that will be in this land. One is going to be the theater attraction, and at 2 is a Ministry of Magic ride that we do not have details on yet, but is rumored to be an elevator style attraction. And at 3 is the in-park hotel you can see in the distance. And the tower at the bottom of this aerial photo will be themed as a spire of, pardon me because I did not take French.
Oh jeez.
But I believe it is pronounced Sacré Coeur Basilica.
Nailed it.
In Paris. And if I got that wrong, I apologize. So like we said the last couple of times we've done these construction updates, not a lot to report on in the Harry Potter area as a lot of this is under scaffolding, but hopefully in the next few months we will start seeing a lot more progress, visually at least, that we can see. But from the Wizarding World, we're going to head over to the center of the park where we're going to check out the dueling coaster that will be called Starfall Racers. Now this end of the coaster seems to be completed, and this view gives us a really great glimpse into the landscaping and how things will look once completed. We're getting an idea just how much greenery that we will see in the park, and this shot right here makes this look like a beautiful area, and I'm really excited to see if the rest of the park really reflects what we're able to see in this little glimpse here. Now at the loading and unloading station, we can see at 1 there's frame recently added where guests will access the station. The roof of the loading and unloading platform is really starting to show the vibe of this ride with its accented roof that we can see there, and the celestial theming in the center looks like it's getting more detail added to it each time we check in. Now the roofing on this area seems to be just about complete, and in this angle we can see that the coaster will actually go right above the roof, so those in line will probably hear the coaster whizzing by while waiting in line. Now it's time to check out the hotels under construction at Epic Universe. In the foreground here are the 2 hotels being built on the outside of the park we can see. One has a colorful reflective tile mural in progress that we've seen for a few weeks now. Now there isn't a lot of progress to note on the 2, I guess we'll call them sister hotels on the outside. We can see a bit more progress being made, of course, on the color tiles that will be in the outside of both these hotels, as some progress is also being made in the pool area. But other than that, not a ton of progress in this area. Now, more progress has been made on the in-park hotel, though, and in this shot, we can get an idea of where this hotel will sit in relation to the rest of the park. So at 1, we have the portal to Dark Universe. 2, we have a cascading water feature. And 5 is the portal to Harry Potter land. And 6 is recent construction that might be a restaurant. Here in this view, we can see some progress on the in-cap rooms, and finally some exterior theming on the outside. Now, it might be a little hard to tell here, but we can see a look at work underway in the outdoor recreation and pool area of the in-park hotel. And this view shows us the front of the hotel where guests will arrive, as the back side of the hotel is actually the part that will face the park itself. Here we can take a look at concrete forms extending the lobby, and nearby are forms that might be for services like valet parking office and bell services. And in this park view of the hotel, we can see at 1, first exterior walls. 2 is a series of foundations along the exterior. At 3, we have a cascading water feature at an in-park restaurant. And 4 and 5 are newest concrete forms related to the in-park fountain. Now, a cool aspect of this park is going to be this giant fountain that is going to be able to be seen by hotel guests and in-park people alike, that will make the hotel look very grand. Here, there is more progress being made on the seating area for the fountain that will likely have shows much like the Bellagio fountain that you can find out in Las Vegas. You can see at 1 a semicircle wall that will be filled. This is believed to be a play splash fountain area. And at 2 is a cross park walkway to be right here. And at 3, we can see the portal to the dark universe. And at 4 is a cascading water feature yet again. And 5, we can see the center of the in-park hotel. Now here we can see the domes at the center, which is believed to be the Constellation Carousel attraction. And we also see multiple water features that are under construction in this area as well. Now, there has been a lot of progress on the concrete work around the domes the past few weeks, but doesn't look like there is any progress made on the actual carousel attraction, at least at this moment. And just as a side note, all the domes on this attraction, this big and smaller domes here, will be covered in stained glass. So this is going to have a very cool look, and especially I'm curious how this will look at night or in the evening time with lights coming in and out of that. All right, the last stop on our tour here is over here at the entrance to Epic Universe, as this is beginning to come along very nicely. Here we have an aerial look at the overall courtyard that can be seen at the admission area on the left into Epic Universe. At right is work so far on the signature gateway of the park. Here's a good look at the work so far in the entrance complex of Epic Universe. At the center is work for the columns that will frame the tall center arch of the gateway. All right, that's going to do it for this Epic Universe construction update. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel before you leave. We will be doing more Epic Universe updates and land previews as construction continues. And here at Capture the Magic, we also have vlogs to bring you some first-hand views from the parks. And over on the CTM Podcast YouTube channel, we discuss all things theme parks in much greater detail. So let us know in the comments, what attraction are you most excited for after seeing all the updates that keep coming? So until next time, we will see you in the parks.